Yeah. Hey, Michael.
Hi, how you doing? You got a second?
What's up?
Well, I'm here to recruit you for the AAUP, and we'd like you to join. We looked down the rolls, we saw you were not a member, and I'm here to try to change that. Do you know anything about the Minnesota case?
Sure.
Okay, the revisions to the tenure provisions at UM. That sort of woke me up to here, because we don't have any immediate, political crisis, and we don't have any direct challenge to faculty on this campus. But I saw how easily it could happen, and it was the same deal at that campus. The local wasn't exactly making news every day, but when those tenure provisions came down, and you remember two of them, right? One was that you could be terminated for not showing a proper attitude of industry and cooperation.
Oh yeah, the Chairman Mao clause.
The Chairman Mao clause,
Right.
yes. And the other one was that if they want to terminate or lay off faculty, and normally you can only do it in an entire department.
Right.
Well, they could redefine department to be you.
Oh really?
Yes. So they could have a department of one, and that department, the department of Peter, be laid off. Okay. So when that came down, first of all, it was not a mistake. Right? They got one of the largest. The Regents at Minnesota got one of the largest anti-union law firms in Washington to draft that for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, right there I realized this is a national trend. It's not an isolated incident. It could happen here next, in a couple of years. And I saw the AAUP moved on that. And basically, they sent out the troops. They organized as many of the faculty as they could, and they got those two provisions repealed. I mean, a much more moderate document that the faculty approved of was in the end passed. And I thought, if the AAUP hadn't done that, I mean, we both belong to disciplinary organizations. We write checks to the same political groups, more or less. No one else stepped in on that one. And that dramatized to me very, very clearly. Whatever the status of the local, you need a national organization. You need a body of folks working coast to coast who, really, regardless of what the membership is here. Now, the other thing is, of course, if you and I join, and maybe another 10, 15 people in this department, that revitalizes the local right there. We've been recruiting for the past 2 weeks, and we think we can get a couple of hundred faculty. It would make us one of the largest chapters among research universities. So, what do you say to that?
Well, I'm still skeptical.
Probably the most important for me was their stand on overuse of part-time faculty. It was, past Ernie Benjamin, who was the general secretary for a long time, who had come here and basically got the word out to me and also to the media. It was the first time I saw the national media pick up on this, that the number of part-timers was 22% in 1970, and it's up over 45, 46 now. And a lot of that increase has been in the last 10 years. And it's not attributable, it's basically, you find folks retiring and they're replaced with adjuncts. And this is actually being pursued aggressively as a policy. There's no one out there, beating the band and trying to oppose this, but the AAUP. Third thing that got me, this is actually two related things having to do with faculty governance. One was sexual harassment. The other was the use of email. You've seen campus, I don't know if you know about University of Washington, where they tried to bar faculty from using email for personal purposes, including talks like this, if we were having this over email, right? The other thing is the AAUP's policy on sexual harassment is a good deal stronger and more defensible than ours. Ours, unfortunately, might just leave you open to a complaint if you're teaching Adrian Rich tomorrow.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. It could. I'm sure it won't happen, but you could get a hostile environment complaint for teaching Judith Butler or just discussing sexuality. And
somebody feels uncomfortable.
Somebody feels uncomfortable, and I think that policy here may just come back to bite the folks who drafted it. I hope it doesn't happen, but the thing is, with controversial issues like that, whether it's email, sexual harassment, post-tenure review, you really need an organization that has benchmark policies on these things. So first of all, you're not fighting them sort of case by case, campus by campus, but also because they have the expertise, they have this knowledge of what's been going down on other campuses that often we don't.
Yeah.
And that's why in a lot of cases, their benchmark policies are good benchmarks to gauge your own local administration against. I found this almost immediately. Once I joined, I mean, every once in a while I get, either reporters or colleagues, whatever they call it, and they ask you, well, what's going on at MIT, or what's this I hear about Ohio State? And half the time, we don't believe what we read in the papers, but until I joined the AUP, I didn't have a national organization that would give me the lowdown on not only what in fact was the case at, say, Ohio State or what have you, but also, what the context was. Whether it was part of a national trend or whether it was just, an aberration there. Usually it's not an aberration, but I found that really useful for dealing, not only with organizing but with media. So, if you would do me the honor of a signature, like I say, if we can get 10, 15 people in this department, that'd be terrific. We'd change the local tomorrow. Will you do it?
Okay, Michael, where do I sign?
This where it says signature.
Oh, yeah.
You can either do it by payroll deduction or a one-time check. I just think compared to the issues involved, the fee is just nominal. But really, we're really glad to have you.
All right, Michael,
Like I said,
we'll give it a try.
We'll get to work on this.